Hello again. This is L.A. Den. Kyle Rittenhouse. And then we have Andrew Coffee. Now, I'm talking about these two people for specific reason, because they're both about the same. We all know about Kyle Rittenhouse and him being exonerated on his 5 counts of murder and all that stuff. And I really want to have a big shout out to the jurors that took their time and deliberated to come up with their verdict. And I would have said this either way if they had found him innocent or guilty. Because it's a lot of work being in a jury room trying to decide somebody's life that you have in their hands, or that you have in their hands. But in my opinion, they looked at the evidence and they saw, enough to acquit him. And as much as it upsets some people, he can never be charged with the crime ever again. And in other words, I'm also glad that he went to trial. Even though the case should have never been brought to trial, in my opinion. And yes, I'm partisan to it, because I'm also a big Second Amendment person. But anyway, I just wanted to say congratulations to Kyle Rittenhouse for winning and telling his side of the story, because I'm going to bring out another point when I get to the other gentleman, Andrew Coffee. And Andrew Coffee, and I remember the case back in 2017 where he had kind of a gun battle with a SWAT team that came there to arrest him for drug charges. Well, let's look past the drug charges. Even though, it states that his father came out of the house and heard the police and came out with his hands up and no problem. But he was sound asleep when all that stuff happened. And when he woke up, he grabbed what he figured to defend his life. And the jurors saw it that way too, because they acquitted him of the murder charge and the attempted murder charge. So Andrew Coffee was found innocent of that, of self-defense. Pretty much like Kyle Rittenhouse. And but he was convicted, though, of a ex-felon in possession of a handgun. But even that I have a problem with. Because everybody's saying, well, he's not supposed to be around a gun. Well, it could have been his girlfriend's gun. She's allowed to have it. Or it could have been his father's gun. And even if it was his gun, in some way, he still had the right to defend himself. And I don't care if it was cops, because the cops ultimately were the ones that killed his girlfriend, and that's what he was being charged with, was the murder of her. And everybody's wanting to take it and say, well, if he would have just complied. Well, comply to what when you don't hear something when you wake up? And that's what the jury found him innocent on and acquitted him on. So, two cases, one white, one black, acquitted of the charges. Now, in my opinion, his gun charge, Andrew Coffee, should be thrown out because, in my opinion, it's irrelevant. He grabbed what he thought would help him defend his life because he didn't know what was going on. He just knew that there was a bunch of bangs going on around him. He didn't know what it was. So, and then my next point's going to be, see, one of the things about, especially with Andrew Coffee, see, I remember when that came out, and I, just hearing the reports and everything, I pretty much thought he was guilty of everything. And I don't know why I would think that, because I'm getting to the point now to where, everybody takes and hears what the news puts out and what the police officers say and everything. But we need to step back because we're only hearing their side of the story. We're not hearing the other side. And that's what the jury is supposed to do, is hear both sides. And that really should be what we do in our own lives. And when we hear reports of things, that we stop and we look at the other side too, also. Not just one side. We look at both sides. Because when we only look at one side, then we are doing an injustice to our criminal justice system. We have to look at both sides. Not just what the prosecutors and what the news wants to put out. We have to look at both sides and then make a decision of what's right and what's not. Just like Kyle and just like Andrew. Both sides, people were listening to what the news and what the prosecutors wanted instead of listening to the other side. And that is my point. That never just take one side. Look at both sides and then make your decisions of what's right and what's wrong, what's fair and what's unfair, what's just, what's unjust. And with that being said, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and as always, leave a comment. This is L.A. Den, signing out.